Hey guys, so the Xperia 1 Mark V is easily Sony's best shot at breaking into the United States market. With all the prior phones in the 1 series, or even the Xperias before that, they typically took many months after being announced to come here to the US, and by that time the chipsets were sometimes already outdated. When Sony started this series with the Xperia 1 4 years ago, it lacked Xperia staples such as the headphone jack and wireless charging. Even last year, the Xperia 1 Mark IV was overpriced at $1,600, had overheating issues, and took 4 months to come out. I recommended the Samsung S22 Ultra over the Xperia 1 Mark IV, but that's not the case this year with how much Sony has improved things. That's not to say the 1 Mark V is perfect. It's still taking 2.5 months to come to the States, and it does have some flaws which I'll discuss during the review. But overall, this is the most well-balanced and feature-packed phone on the market. $1,400 is not cheap, so I would not consider the price to be a bargain, but it is a fair price considering what's included. For starters, you're getting a 4K display which no other phone manufacturer offers. You're also getting micro SD card support, which is a rarity for phones. The headphone jack is another rare feature, and it's practically extinct for all other phones. It has flagship specs such as the newest Snapdragon and 12 gigs of RAM, an excellent triple camera setup, a 5000 mAh battery, and just about every other hardware feature that you could hope for, including water resistance and wireless charging. The only thing it's missing that the Xperia 1 Mark IV had was the notification LED, but the improvements easily make up for that. Also, if you want, you can turn on the always on display and get the notifications that way. Now let's discuss those improvements. So the overheating on the 1 Mark IV was partially corrected with software updates, but it was mostly a hardware issue. So even today it's still a big problem. The hardware of the 1 Mark V includes a 60% larger heat diffusion, and that makes a massive difference in everyday use. Just for example, the 1 Mark IV often shut the camera down when it overheated. I film and upload about 40 videos per month across my YouTube channels and other platforms, so this meant I could not use it as my daily. To see how much Sony has improved things with the 1 Mark V, I did a test where I turned the AC off and recorded both phones in 4K mode on a hot summer day. The Xperia 1 Mark IV shut down after only 12 minutes, and again, this was after a bunch of software updates that tried to fix the issue. The Xperia 1 Mark V, meanwhile, took almost 23 minutes. Further, I tested the recording in 1080p 60fps mode, and it never shut down for even over an hour. Not only did the heat affect the camera on the 1 Mark IV, but it also impacted battery and performance. When it started overheating, for instance, the battery drained much quicker. So even though both phones have the same size battery, the results are better on the 1 V. The battery on the 1 Mark V should easily get even heavy power users through a full day without needing to charge. Because the display is 4K, this can sometimes drain quicker than other phones, but the battery size helps make up for it. Getting back to the cameras, now the sensor on the main lens is a lot larger than the previous Xperias, so that means it does a better job handling darker environments and changes in lighting. These days I'm taking a ton of photos and videos because my wife and I just had our first baby. Now I don't want to share those on YouTube, but the results are pretty impressive. That said, auto mode is still not as good as the market leader Pixel 7 Pro. The shots are the most color accurate that I've seen from any phone, but they simply don't look as nice as the Pixel. If you enjoy manual controls, then this has it all, but most people usually point and shoot. And while this phone is pretty good there, it's not quite the best. The videos overall are some of the best quality you'll get from any phone. Here's a quick video sample. The design might look similar to the rest of Sony's 1 Series phones, but the textured glass on the back makes this really nice to hold. It's far less slippery than most phones, and it also weighs less than most flagships. The fingerprint scanner, which is also the power, is extremely fast and accurate. It's my favorite setup for any phone. The placement is ideal, and although in-display scanners may be more interesting, they just don't work as well. Now, one of the main concerns from some of you guys in the comments is this movie aspect ratio, and there are both positives and negatives to that. Of course, if you're watching a movie, then this is perfect, but one of the main downsides is watching most 16:9 content, such as the video you're watching right now. As for everything else, the phone is more comfortable to hold than most flagships due to the narrow width. I also prefer it for some apps such as social media. It all comes down to what you most commonly use your phone for, as well as comfort. A very underrated feature that no other phone company is doing is including a SIM and micro SD card slot that does not require a SIM card ejector. Some new phones such as iPhone 14 don't even support physical SIM cards. Just about every other company has cut back on things such as the headphone jack and micro SD card support, and although I have several wireless headphones, there's many times when I just want to use a wired setup. Generally, the connection on wired is better quality, and I don't have to worry about charging. The speakers are front-facing with balanced sound, and they're some of the best on the market. Performance overall is top-notch, and is faster than the Galaxy S23 Ultra, as you can see in my comparison. That's one advantage of Sony having a more stock UI. The most common criticism from you guys in the comments is software updates. Now, Sony only commits to 2 years of major software updates and 3 years of security updates. So if you plan on using the phone for more than 3 years, then it's definitely a valid concern. And I hope someday Sony can improve these numbers by at least a year or two. The Xperia Mark V comes out July 28th here in the US. Overall, this is not a perfect phone, but it has the most features of any. And unlike the One Mark IV, it does not have any major problems. So I do consider it to be the best phone on the market. The box unfortunately has nothing inside it besides the phone, but if you pre-order you'll get some free headphones and a gift card. Check out my comparison versus the Galaxy S23 Ultra if you've not already. And as always, thanks for watching.